everyone, this is Dr.T Varalakshmi discussing you about the question bank of Introduction to this Demand Analysis, whereas it's in Unit 1 of Business Economics and Financial Analysis. Here, I'm going to be discussing you about the short-term questions, long-term answered questions, as well as the critical thinking questions related to this demand, its definition based on its nature and scope, and the determinants of the demand and the exceptional cases of this demand, and demand measurements, law of the demand, elasticity of the demand and its types, demand forecasting, and various methods of the demand forecasting basis. So on these concepts basis that I'm going to be discussing with you the short-term answers, long-term answers, as well as the critical thinking answers. So generally, the short-term answers will ask about some of the definitions and the terminologies are the basic elements related to these concepts of the demand, determinants of the demand, law of the demand, and elasticity of the demand and demand forecasting basis. So if we observe, they'll ask you about this defining economics. So we are all know that one economics is the concept of applying the maximum utilization of the resources for the scarcity of the resources. So on this phenomena, you can explain about this economics meaning, its applicability, what is the meaning of the scarcity, usage, and how this economy, if the economy is not there, what happens in this one, because unlimited wants are all there for the people. So the people's wants, desires, needs are all becoming unlimited, whereas the resources are all becoming limited. To match this reducing number of the resources to this unlimited populations or the unlimited needs of the people, we need to apply this economic concepts. So that is the answer we have to give here. And next thing is, they may ask you about what's the meaning of an inelasticity. So generally, elasticity means the effect of the demand determinant factor on the quantity demanded is called as the elasticity. For example, if the price increases, demand of the particular product decreases, then it is having this effect on that particular price is the determinant factor on this quantity demanded. It is going to be having its impact of that one. So which means the determinant factor, if the law of the demand exists, then it is called as the elasticity. If that doesn't exist, so that is generally if the income increases, the goods demand has to increase. But instead of that one, if the demand is reduces, then it is called as the inelasticity. Not that reduces, not exactly reduces, but it doesn't have any impact on the quantity demanded of that one. So even if the price changes, increases or the decreases, if the people are purchasing the same quantity of the goods, then that phenomena will be called as the inelasticity of the demand. So if the determinant factors impact is there on the quantity demanded, then it is called as the elasticity. If the determinant factor doesn't has any impact on the quantity demanded of a product, then it is called as the inelasticity. You can explain with an example of the price with the quantity demanded, and you can show this any graphical representation also regarding this inelasticity of the demand. And the next concept is write a short note on macroeconomics. So generally, economics is categorized into two elements, microeconomics as well as the macroeconomics. The macroeconomics, you have to explain about the external environmental factors which is going to be affecting the organizational economy or the country's economy or the state's economy. So that is overall the customers' impact on the organization, competitors, governmental policies, etc., and their impact on the organization you can explain. So, or macroeconomic factors for a country like GDP, GNP, NDP, NNP. So, these concepts that you can explain regarding this macroeconomy elements. Next thing is explain the normative statement. So, we will find this concept under the nature of the demand. So, demand has various kinds of the natures where it is closer to the microeconomics. It works as a backdrop of macroeconomics. It is a normative statement. So, which means it is based on the situation, but it is not an automatic or the static, which means if it is any solution as per the occur a real-time problem. If for one solution it applicable might be the best at that situation for that organization, but the same thing may not be possible. For example, for an organization, producing of 100 products might be the economy. For this another organization, 100 products of the production may not be the ultimate solution for that one, even though they are producing the same kind of the product, because of the quality and the cost which is incurring that one. 150 products production of for any company may be the beneficiary for that one. So which means economy solutions may not be equivalent for all the situation, for all the organizations. Situations to situation it will be changes. The next thing is define the demand. So demand is the value assigning to the product based on the certain factors like ability of the customers, willingness of the customers, and other influencing factors like price, income levels, advertisement about that particular product, taste and preferences of the customers, etc. All these are all going to be have their impact, and they are going to be create a value to the product. That value assigned to the product based on these factors is called as the demand. Next thing is write a short note on perfectly price inelasticity of the demand. So under the measurements of this elasticity of the demand, we will find price elasticity, income elasticity, advertisement elasticity, cross elasticity, various kinds of the measurements we will see. In this one, especially if the price elasticity is taken into the consideration, again the price elasticity is of 5 kinds, that is price perfectly elasticity of the demand, price perfectly inelasticity of the demand, price relatively elasticity of the demand, price relatively inelasticity of the demand, price unit elasticity of the demand. So where in this one, perfectly price inelasticity of the demand means even if there is a huge change in the price, if the price is changes from P1 to P2, the people are purchasing the same quantity of the products. Same quantity of the products means, so the price changes or does not show any influence on the quantity demanded of a product, because the that is called as the inelasticity, and here the determinant factor is the price, and it is perfectly doesn't show any impact on the quantity demanded. So with that you need to explain with a graphical representation for this one. Next thing is summarize about the Geffen paradox. So Geffen paradox means, so generally as per the elasticity of the demand, if the income of the people increases, the quantity demanded for the product has to increase. If it does not exist, that is under the exceptions to the law of the demand, even if the income of the people increases, if the people thinks that it is a low grade product or the quality less product or the low standard product, then the quantity demanded of that particular products will be reduces. So which means instead of income increasing to the increasing quantity demanded, if the quantity demanded of the product reduces when the income of the people increases, that situation is called as the Geffen paradox. And the next thing is defining about the business economics. So generally, economics means utilization of the maximum resources with a scarcity consideration. If that economy elements are applicable to the business activities or the managerial elements like planning, organizing, coordinating, controlling, summarizing, analyzing of the any management activities, then that is called as the business economics. Next thing is write a short note about unit price elasticity of the demand. So which means here again the price is the determinant factor of the quantity demanded of this one. Here the elasticity is unitary here, which means if the price is increases by 100%, then the demand for the product will be reduces by 100%. Equivalence. If the prices increases by 50%, then the same level of decreasing in the demand of the product. In the graphical representation, once if we observe, if the P1 price, if the people were purchasing the Q1 quantity, then if the price is increases to P2, then the people will stop the consumption up to Q2 level. So this graphical representation and this examples, you need to explain about this unitary price elasticity of the demand. And the next thing is write a short note on cross elasticity of the demand. So cross elasticity means any related products. So that product might be a substitutable product, or that product might be a complementary product. Let us say X is a product and X is a coffee. Substitutable product is the tea, whereas the complementary product is sugar. If the coffee price increases, then sugar demand will be reduces, because coffee demand will also be reduces. And the same thing, if the coffee price increases, then tea demand will be increases. So here it is the demand. It is the demand, because these are all substitutable products, whereas the others are all the complementary products. Again, if we take these two into the consideration, so here these two will be again the complementary products. So we need to explain these phenomena in terms of the substitutable products as well as in terms of the complementary products with appropriate graphical representations. So next set of the questions they'll ask is about to describe or to demonstrate about the negative income elasticity of the demand. So where it is also called as perfectly income inelasticity of the demand. So which means, so generally, if the income increases, so let us say like people are purchasing the quantity 1 for the income levels of I1, then instead of this purchasing of quantity 1, the people increases their income from I1 to I2, the quantity has to increase actually. So, but if it doesn't have any impact on this one, so which means, so same level of the quantity the people are purchasing, and there is no impact of this income changes on the quantity demanded of the product, then it is called as the negative income elasticity of the demand, or the perfectly income inelasticity of the demand. Next thing is, in illustrate income elasticity is greater than unity. So which means unitary income elasticity of the demand you need to explain. So for this one, you need to draw a graph of I1 income is there. The people who are purchasing Q1 income. Then if the income is increased by 20%, then the quantity of that product will also be increases to Q2. So this is this one. So with the graphical representations with some real-time examples of yours known, you have to explain that concepts. Next thing is explain the law of the demand. So law of the demand means the relationship between the quantity changes and demand impact of the product based on its determinant factor, then it is called as the law of the demand. So in some of the definitions, we will find that the percentage change in the price and its impact on the percentage change in the quantity demanded of a product is called as the law of the demand. So instead of that price, we can explain in terms of the income also. The percentage change in the income divided by the percentage change in the quantity demanded. So for example, the people who the price of a product is increased from 20 to 10. And while purchasing at 10 rupees, if the people were purchasing 100 products, and at 20, if the people are now purchasing the 40 products are only, now we can explain this with 60 divided by 10, that is 6. So which means it has its impact on the 60%, 6% impact is there with this change in this price on the quantity. Then next question is about outline the meaning of exceptions of demand curve. So here you need to provide the exceptions to the law of the demand, luxury products, Giffen paradox, as well as the another related elements like abnormal situations, and there is no future there is no future idea about the prices changes, and absence and ignorism of the people. So all these situations you can explain Veblen products, etc., under the exceptions to the law of the demand curves. And the next thing is exceptional demand curves means you need to explain about the graphical representations of the demand with the quantity, price, as well as the any other determinant factors like advertisements, etc. You need to explain about the curves related to the demand. Another set of short-term answers related to this one is what's the meaning of a Veblen or demonstration effect means if the people will think that in a near future, if the prices of the goods are all going to be increasing, then even if the price of that goods increases, the people will show or motivates towards purchasing the product. That is a temporary demand which is created for the products based on the future uncertainties, or in the case of the emergencies and war situations, that demand at that situations is called as the Veblen ones. We can explain with this example of these lockdown announcement situations. Before going to be announcing the lockdown situations, the people will rush towards the any grocery shops, and they'll try to maintain some stock for the pandemic situations. So that may be is one of the examples for the Veblen, and we can demonstrate with these examples and explain the concept of cross elasticity of demand in the case of substitutes. So here where you have seen the cross elasticity of the demand means you have to explain in terms of the both the complementary goods and substitutable products, but here only in the case of the substitutes we need to explain means, so if the X products demand X products price increases, then Y product demand will be increases. So generally, if the price of that commodity increases, that same product demand will be reduced. But it's a substitutable product. Its rivalry product demand will be increases. So that is with a graphical representation. So the examples we need to explain about that one and illustrate the factors affecting the demand forecasting means. So the taste and preferences, price, income levels, government actions, etc. You need to explain about all the factors which are going to be affecting the demand forecasting. Next thing is write cross elasticity of the demand in the case of complementary goods. So there separately they may ask you. So here the complementary goods means direct proportionate. If the price of the X commodity increases, then the demand for the Y product will be reduces. That with this real-time examples or appropriate graphical representations you need to explain and the define elasticity of the demand. So the impact of the demand determinant demand factor on the quantity demanded of a product is called as the elasticity of the demand, and it can be of 5 kinds, that is perfectly elastic, perfectly inelastic, relatively elastic, relatively inelastic, and unitary elastics. With the graphical representations you can explain. So that's about the short-term answers possibility from this unit 1. And in the long-term questions, there is a chance of asking about how microeconomics differ from macroeconomics. Explain in detail nature and scope of the managerial economics. Here, you need to explain about what is the managerial economics, its definition, its nature, scope, and the types of this economics like microeconomics and the factors under the microeconomics, and the types of the macroeconomies and the factors under the macroeconomics. All this you have to explain. And the next thing is managerial economics bridges the gap between the economic theory and the business practices. Explain. So which means we have to explain about the what is the managerial economics definition again, and economic theory and its importance on the management practices, that is need and importance of the managerial economics and its applicability on the management activities. We need to explain that one. And the next thing is explain how managerial economics has its roots in economics and management. Does it have any link with the other disciplinaries? Support your answer. So which means how the economy is related to the mathematics knowledge, and how the economy is related to the statistical knowledge, how the economy is related to the production, human resources, financial, marketing management, in what way it is related with all the other all other management related informations, and the subjectual knowledge for the best implementation of the managerial economics that we need to explain here. And examine the determinants of the elasticity of the demand and illustrate your answer with real-time examples. So here we need to explain about the determinants, price, income, advertisement, cross elasticities, that determinants on the elasticity of the demand with the real-time examples we need to explain. And summarize the cases of exceptions to the law of the demand, means so exceptional cases like luxury products, Veblen products, Giffen paradox, as well as this ignorance, not having the knowledge, misleadings, etc. All these cases you can take into the consideration, and you can explain how if they are not applicable to the law of the demand with a graphical representation and examples. Next thing is, what do you understand by shift in demand curve? Enumerate 3 possible reasons for shift. So here we need to explain about the demand curve. So that is, you can take the example of price elasticity or income elasticity or any of this determinant factor you can take, and you can explain with this all the kinds of this demand curves and its impact and what are the reasons for that one. So like if the price elasticity is there, what are the reasons for its impact on this demand? If the income elasticity is there, what are these reasons? So like this, we can explain them in your own explanations. Next thing is explain various economies of scale and diseconomies of scale that accumulates to the firm when it expands its operations. So economies of scale, so which are going to be have its impact on that one, and which are the diseconomies of scale that is going to be having its impact on this demand, we need to explain in a neat explanation format. The next thing is, what are the needs for the demand forecasting, and explain the various steps involved in the demand forecasting. So we need to explain what is demand forecasting first, what is its need, and step-by-step procedures in the demand forecasting. So like planning, organizing, communication. So each and every step what we will do, we need to explain that one. And next thing is illustrate the law of the demand. What are the various factors that determines the demand for mobile phones? So here first we need to explain about law of the demand, its formula, its graphical representation, as well as we need to take the example of the mobile phones and determine like if the price increases, what will be the impact on that price increasing on the mobile phones. If the income levels increases, what is its impact on the mobile phones demand, and the cross elasticity, etc. All the cases we need to take into the consideration, and we need to explain to the mobile phones one particular product's demand. Instead of that mobile phones, they may ask you about any other kind of the goods are also. Next thing is like a little bit a problem, that one, that is initial price of the product P is 10 rupees and the quantity demanded for that product at that price P is 20, and price declines to 9 and quantity demanded increases to 23. find the price elasticity of the demand. So first we need to explain what is the price elasticity of the demand and the types of the price elasticity of the demand. We have to take it as, we must take it as P1. It is a P2, Q1, Q2. So change in this quantity is 3, whereas the demand is 3. So here the quantity demanded is greater than 3. So which means there is a relatively price elasticity of the demand. Like this, five types you need to explain about that one. And next thing, what are the possible approaches to forecasting the demand for the existing products? Illustrate those methods in detail. So which means we need to explain about both quantitative and qualitative demand forecasting methods. Next one is, what are the possible approaches to forecasting the demand for new products? Illustrate those methods in details, especially the qualitative elements. Like for the new products, like survey methods, only the qualitative elements we need to explain, and end survey method, customers opinions method, so customers balancing method, all these methods we need to explain here. And what is the opportunity cost, and give some examples of opportunity cost and how these costs are relevant for managerial economics. So in the managerial economics, what is the meaning of an opportunity cost, and with this relevance of the managerial economics, we need to explain that one. And define elasticity of the demand. How is the advertisement elasticity of the demand measures? Explain its role in the business. So we need to explain what is the elasticity of the demand, formula for the elasticity of the demand. Again, this one, advertisement elasticity and various types of these advertisement elasticities and its impact on the business, we need to explain that one. And managerial economics is a study of allocation of resources available to a firm or other unit of management among the activities that unit explain. So here we need to explain about managerial economics and its usefulness for the management decisions, we need to explain. So next is the critical thinking questions. Like, explain how managerial economics has its roots in the economics and management. Does it have any links with the other subjects? Support your answer. So we need to explain about economics, management, managerial economics, and the relationship between the managerial economics and its importance, as well as the management economics relationship with the other disciplinaries. With a neat diagram, we need to explain that one. And how do you explain the relation of managerial economics with other subjects? So again, in detail, we have to explain about its relationship with other subjects, and explain why consumption procedures production, explain how the consumption laws help the producers to formulate its productional process. So we need to explain about this demand and its impact and its usage in this management economics. And distinguish between substitutes and complements with examples. How does this distinction of the goods help in business decision making? So we need to explain about what is the meaning types of the goods, like that, substitutes and complementaries, and its relationship with the examples, graphical representations. We need to explain that one. And the purpose of managerial economics is to show economic analysis can be used in formulating business policies. So this is the statement given by Joel Dean. Then comment on these statements means, so what is the purpose of this managerial economics in this particular economy situations, real-time situations? You need to study what is its impact, and in this pandemic situations, what sectors are going to be affecting, all this, what government policies has taken into the consideration, what its impact on the economy, boosting of the country, all this real-time situations we need to explain with supporting this statement. And define managerial economics and point out its chief characteristics. How is macroeconomics useful to managerial economics? So we need to explain about managerial economics and its characteristics, and macroeconomic factors impact on the management decisions. And explain why consumption precedes production. How the consumption laws help the producers to formulate his production patterns. So we need to explain about the scarcity as well as the usage phenomena and its impact on the economy elements. Then what is meant by the demand? Everyone desires for an ambassador car. Does this mean the demand for ambassador car is large? So we need to explain about the demand and particularly in terms of the luxurious products, what is the demand that thinking, and we need to apply this demand on the luxurious products and what is that phenomena and everything, we need to explain that one. And statistical and mathematical techniques complicate the process of demand forecasting. Do you agree? Support your answer. So we have to critically analyze the quantitative and qualitative methods of the demand forecasting, and we need to suggest which method is the best for which situations in the market conditions. Next one is what is meant by the elasticity of the demand? Explain, giving a suitable illustration how elasticity of the demand determines the price policy of a firm. So we need to explain about this elasticity of the demand, various types of the elasticity of the demands with some of the examples and the price policies of a firm. So that's about the questions to be possible to ask from this unit 1 of this business economics and financial analysis related to the short term related questions, long term related, as well as the critical thinking questions. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.